Hey guys, SickMotion here with the 5.11 patch notes here, my opinions and read through on it. A little bit of combat text tuning. Critical strikes have had their motion and color and icon adjusted to contrast more with regular damage. So just some prettiness added or changed, I guess. Aatrox, a little bit of a buff. His blood well now is up to 75 seconds. Cooldown reduced at level 16. So having that on a 2.5 second cooldown is basically a second ability. Or not second, I guess, a fifth ability. It's basically better than a GA. So that's kind of cool. You have your that reliableness out of it as well. The 75 seconds off. I don't know if that's gonna target why he hasn't been played that much though. Q no longer 5-stack triggers on turrets. Decreased damage on volley. Little bit of, well, quite a bit. Vision while radius while traveling was reduced by 500 units and updates more frequently. So Ashe is got some nerfs because she's been played a lot lately. This is a nice change for Brand. If you're in a situation where you're playing Brand and there's a lot of people who can become untargetable on the enemy team, you're always afraid to use your ult when it might be a good ult opportunity. But now that it doesn't fizzle if your initial target becomes untargetable, it's going to feel a lot better and you're going to be able to target people that you want to target and not have to wait until maybe it's too late to use your ult or till it's not a good ultimate time. Caitlyn passive now does 50% of the target's bonus armor, ignores it. It's not base armor, it's the bonus, but bonus is generally what tanks have a lot of, and that's only on her passive, but that'll help her a lot because she's not in the greatest place right now. Standardized the load time on the snap trap, and now gives vision at the start rather of the cast rather than at the start of the channel. So I think that was to address sometimes you would start it and it would cancel itself because you would lose vision awkwardly, which was weird. Echo here, movement speed reduced, which is understandable. He gains a lot from his passive. This is the big one on here. Vision granted on cast is no longer on his W, so you could throw that W and you would gain instant vision of the area. Now it's 2 seconds after cast and also costs more mana to use earlier, and just some clarity on his detonation zone and his ultimate to make it easier to kind of have some counterplay against it without actually nerfing the actual skills. Update cycle on Warpath, rather than every second, is 0.25 seconds. So as you lose movement speed or gain movement speed, it'll show it more often, 4 times faster. Now stacks additively with bonus move speed rather than multiplicatively, so you can't do that. Well, you still can do it, it's just not going to be as devastating of a charge, but I think Home Guard Hecarim will still be quite the thing. A lot of what I was using it for was like the Home Guard smash of their face is nice, but it lets you get into a position even if they see that teleport that they can't get away from. So I think Hecarim will still have those Home Guards. Big change on Jace. His ultimate levels itself now at 6, 11, and 16 and no longer requires skill points. All of his other abilities, he has 3 now instead of 4, level up to level 6 to give him 16 ability point usages. So he has can level his Q, W, and E 6 times. And there's a bunch of changes here, but it's either the same at level 6 as it was at level 5, which is kind of a little bit of a nerf because you have to level it further, I guess. But some of them, like for example, his Q now has 40 more base damage at level 6 than it did at level 5. So he gets to power up to a stronger point in a lot of places, which makes a lot of sense because no one was ever using, like, I didn't even call it an ult, I just called it my R on Jace, and I would start leveling it at 15 because I had nothing else to put points into. So that's why they're making that change, which is cool to see Jace back in play. Shunpo base damage and ratio got nerfed, but that was really just kind of her movement ability. If you're using it for damage, you're either way too far ahead or you don't know what you're doing. Or, I guess, in some cases, you were using it for damage and now those people won't die. Kha'Zix's isolation radius is reduced, which might sound like a nerf if you don't know what that is. But basically, to get the bonus damage on your target, if someone is within 500, you couldn't get it, but now it's 425, so it's easier to get that isolation bonus, which is going to be nice. I like Kha'Zix. I like playing Kha'Zix, so that should be cool. LeBlanc, missile speed on her W, nerfed. Missile width on her E, nerfed. And checks if the initial target has broken the tether 4 times is fast, kind of like the Hecarim updating 4 times as fast. So if you're out of range of the E, it'll probably not stay on you and hit you regardless anyway, which was really frustrating. Visually, it looked like you were way out of range, but it wasn't checking fast enough. So some nerfs to LeBlanc there. Pretty cool change to Malphite here. I'm actually kind of excited for this. His W now, instead of passively giving you a cleave, it gives you passively additional armor. The active, no longer you gain additional armor and attack, because that's his passive other than the attack. Basic attacks now deal an additional flat from 25 to 85, going up by 15 per level, plus an AP ratio of physical damage. It's kind of weird to say, oh, AP gives me physical, but that's how it works. Brutal Strikes now display a visual that indicates the effective area, which is cool for clarity. And he does his critical animation when he hits with it, which is cool. But that's kind of nice. That you gain just like that flat. Because you didn't really ever build attack damage on Malphite, so that was usually just scaling with your base more than anything. So that's going to be kind of cool. And also the cleave is no longer percentage of your attack damage, so you're doing more to your main target. It looks like all of them are going to be taking that extra. You'll still be doing your basic attack damage to your main target, but all of your other targets will have a predictable amount of damage onto them. They made it looks like a nerf. Apparently it's not. Basically, your command shockwave upon reaching cooldown upon out of ranging the ball is 0.75, so it'll be less of the ball snaps back to you and you ult yourself by accident more than anything. Fixed a bug where Rune Prison and E could be cast on a dying target without completing the spellcaster using mana to give passive stacks. I think it still put it on cooldown though, so it's kind of okay, kind of not okay. And also, if you're casting that spell on a dying target and you're not getting the CS for doing that, then you're missing minions anyway. No Rise nerf, really, other than a bug fix. I'm expecting a big Rise nerf because of how devastating he has become overnight. The Shizwani nerf from last patch is here again, but now it's actually here, not just saying that it's here. Shen base magic resistance up and also has a scaling magic resist growth stat, which is kind of cool. His Kai Strike, it goes down in the initial cooldown per level as you gain levels, and his Shadow Dash costs a little less energy. That's nice and all. Shen is in a better spot than he was before this patch. I would still rather play almost any other tank top lane than Shen and feel more rewarding and enjoy playing it more. But if you're a Shen player, that should be happy for you. Burnout now deals 25% of Burnout's AoE damage per basic attack for the duration. Now, if you're building a little bit of attack speed on Shyvana with like a Bork, and then keep in mind the auto attack reset that double hits with her Q, that ends up being quite a lot of damage. But you got to keep in mind, this is the way I'm looking at it. Unless it doesn't scale like this, then it could be insane. But I think it's 25% of the Burnout's AoE basic damage. So that's 25% of its per second. So it's not you're going to get 4 auto attacks off and do 100% burnout damage to that target. You're going to get 4 auto attacks off and do 100% of the 1 second of burnout, which I think lasts 7 seconds total. But it is an extra bit of damage, which is nice. And since you're leveling W first anyway, that'll feel great. Long story short, here Sivir's ultimate now gives 1 second less and 2 seconds less at level 11 and 16 of movement speed. So her disengage and re-engage will be a little less powerful. Luden's now stacks 10 stacks per spellcast rather than 20, so it empowers itself off 10 basically rather than 5, not including movement speed. It's quite a big change for spell spammers, and includes Twisted Treeland Dominion, I guess. Blah, blah, blah. That's not what I was actually trying to look at. The ability power ratio has gotten nerfed by 0.05. If you're rushing the item, that's not actually that bad, but later on in the game, that 0.05 ability power ratio you'll be able to feel that a little bit at least. Visual updates to the loading screen, victory banners, brush physics, bunch of other visual changes that kind of take it in Twisted Treeline Crystal Scar in line with Summoner's Rift because they've kind of been left behind. A couple item changes that I'm not going to really go over here for Twisted Treeline because a lot of people don't play it. I might start getting back into it. And there's a lot of 3v3 changes here as well. Huge changes. Experience that your jungle camps give you because they start out at level 2, but they're not as powerful either. If you follow the 3v3 scene at all, junglers kind of fallen out of the meta for a lot of 3v3 teams. People have been opting in to rather take a duo lane and a solo lane, put the duo lane, make the duo lane clear the jungle, and then make the duo lane clear the solo lane, and then have them kind of like, or it wouldn't be a solo lane if you're a duo lane, I guess, but make them clear the lane that they are in, that their solo's not in, clear the jungle, and then roam around and take objectives together rather than having a dedicated jungler. So this might change that a little bit because now you get level 2 off doing one camp. It very well may just make the dual lane idea stronger. I don't know. I haven't played threes in a while. So Vilema is stronger. The Vilema buff has changed to be more in line kind of with the tower pushing and stronger minions like in Summoner's Rift rather than just a raw stat thing. The altars have changed, and now rather than giving you raw stats and snowbally stuff like more kills per gold on units, so getting them earlier is more important than getting them later. They just give 10% movement speed and now restores max health on minion or monster kill so you can siege for longer, which is all just pushing the game as a more of a faster paced game. That's for pushing. The Vilema is for pushing. For balance, for ending out 3v3 games. A lot of times if the enemy team had a lot of wave clear, they could turtle forever. So getting some of that staleness out of the way by the looks of it. There's another turret now. There's a new turret. I haven't seen the positioning or what it looks like, but there's a new turret further up. So it's once one turret falls, it explains in here, and I agree with that. Once one turret falls, you lose so much map control with the map being that small. There's one less safe area. Now you're in your base basically. Like that's a pretty fast transition. So there's one more turret there. They took away vision granting items and then put them back in as a trinket. I don't agree with the 60-second cooldown on this trinket. That is way too short and way too safe in my opinion. I do like that they took it off of these items because if you didn't have someone who was going to build a Spectre's Lantern, if your jungler refused to build that, and you didn't have someone building a Sweeper or a Lightbringer, you were at a serious disadvantage unless you had someone who passively gave map vision or something on threes. But now they put it as a trinket, which doesn't force you to rush an item build path, which I agree with, but that 60 seconds might have to be toned up, I think. So we'll have to wait and see how it plays out, and I'll have to actually play some threes to see how that plays out. Madras is no longer needed because Grez's was taken away. They kind of, I guess, repaired a little bit Diamond 5 LP games. If your MMR is still garbage and you're in Platinum MMR in Diamond 5, according to this, you should still be gaining less and losing more because it's an MMR balancing thing, not the Diamond 5 clamping. So I think that's the major, because you can't drop below Diamond 5 unless you go below Plat 5 MMR to get drop back down into Plat, so that you kind of feel safer in Diamond. And I think that's where a lot of the clamping comes from, and a lot of people getting there and then kind of going lackadaisical or lucking out to get there type thing, and then getting locked up so they don't fall back down, and then feeling like they've been hard done by when their MMR actually is that low and they shouldn't be getting these gains that they think they should be. But for the people that I think, like I said, are the smaller group of people in this problem, if your MMR is actually in Diamond, the gains and losses should feel more believable, I guess, more expected. Some bug fixes here, cool. And that Renekton skin, I played it on the PBE. It kind of just feels like insert random Renekton skin here. Looks and feels like a lot of the other ones. Cho'Gath skin's pretty cool though, and the Anivia skin looks awesome. So that's cool. Those skins are cool. Dinosaurs are awesome. And that's the end of the patch notes here. I didn't go over the 3v3 changes as in depth because I haven't played threes in a while, so I'm not gonna try and go over that as much as someone who might play threes more often. I used to play a lot of threes, and I would like to probably start playing more threes more often now that they're kind of giving some attention to that map. And maybe in the future, if I remember to, or if it's requested, I'll go over those changes, or I'll go over threes or something. I'll do the 3v3 dedicated video maybe once I'm back in the loop of things. We'll see where that ends up. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching. As always, as always, what? I don't know where I'm going with this. I need to go to bed here. Stream title or stream link is in the description, as well as my social media. I hope you guys found this informative. Be sure to check out my stream if you haven't checked that out before, as well as subscribing to the YouTube if you want to see more videos like this, or videos from my stream, or other videos that you may have on, or I may have on here. Yeah, I'm way too tired. I'm just mixing up my words. But all of that, have a great rest of your day, night, guys, and we'll see you next time.